Hello and welcome. It's Alexis little boy and Mariska Anderson, and we are talking to you today. Well, we're talking to each other really. What we were going to talk about was a little bit about vision, having vision, finding a vision, because sometimes it's hiding under a blanket or something, and really kind of digging into what is your vision, not anybody else's, but your vision. We'll be talking about a few other little bits and pieces, but wanted to say hi, Mariska. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me here with you. It's
You're
awesome.
welcome.
Always up for a chat with you, though. You
Yeah.
know that.
Very true. So, darling, tell me a little bit about what you're doing at the moment.
Well, my work has actually shifted a touch. I started with working with women on purpose and vision. So, like a place to start, a place to really know what they were bringing to the world, and then to see how to apply that in the future. And working more and more with that's a whole thing in and of itself, but working more and more with that, I realized there's an actual whole identity shift that kind of needs to happen to get to that vision. They need to... We talk about it a lot in the coaching world, that you need to become the person who has the things that you want. So you need to become the person who has your vision. I look at it a little bit differently, is that like I help women reveal who that already is. So it's not like this big traumatic process. However, it is a little bit scary saying goodbye to your old self. So yeah, there's a lot of support in that.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah, no, it can really kind of hear the transformative kind of idea where you're going from who you are and then actually peeling back the layers, and it's like a rediscovery because you were never really lost. You just had that illusion of being lost.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like giving yourself, or unlearning a whole bunch of crap, basically, and therefore, or having that permission, just like you did when you were a kid, to dream big and just go for it. Because, right, like when you're a kid, you just go and do whatever you want, and you ask for stuff, and you get it, and you're like the ultimate little manifester,
Yeah.
right? And there's playfulness and all of that. If we get back down to that attitude, that's usually the person who can go right to that vision. It's not easy though.
No.
That's the work.
And you think about everything that we've learned, especially as you become an adult and you learn, the right way to do things, the wrong way to do things. You get beaten up. Well, not literally, I hope. But, the mistakes that you make, there's a lot of judgment. And quite often there's that society and that cultural, judgment that we then take on, and then ourselves decide, okay, well, no one else is beating me up at the moment. Let's do it myself.
Right. They get so used to it.
Yeah, and it's a programming as well that's being created, and you help them to kind of get out of that.
Yeah, there's a real big... The question is always, what am I making this mean? And realizing that you can make whatever it is mean whatever to you. So if someone acts like a jerk and they're blaming you, like they're angry with whatever you said maybe, and they're acting like a jerk about it, you can start to feel bad, like, oh, I'm a bad person. But that's assigning a meaning to his actions or her actions toward you, whereas actually they're just being a jerk. And it doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that you said the wrong thing. There's just something going on over there for them. So when we're kids, though, we're obviously told to act a certain way or else. So it's like, if you do this, then that happens. And that is always like a bad thing. There's consequences. So that's where the sort of meaning comes in. But now that we're grown-ups, right, we can kind of ask ourselves,
are we?
Okay, what am I making this mean? Oh, actually I don't need to make it mean that at all. And just, okay, mosey on.
Yeah. So it's definitely, it's peeling those layers away and going, actually, that's not mine. You can have that back. See you later.
Yeah. Exactly. You made that mean something. I don't need to make it mean something. Thanks.
And sometimes that feels like it's a bit of hard work because, you do have sometimes we've got a few decades of this stuff that we've been hanging on to.
Pretty much all the time, though, right? Because we start. I remember talking to a detective once, and he I think this was quite pessimistic, but he was saying that if a child was brought up in a criminal environment up until the age of 4, they had an extraordinarily steep learning curve to not be that same person, regardless if they're taken out of that situation after they're 4 years old and plonked in a foster home or whatever. I mean, there's obviously issues with that, but they are basically so likely to become criminals themselves. So it's like we really grab onto all of the meanings and things when we're that little. It's our subconscious is like this big sponge going more, and then it goes, oh, okay, no, I'm good now. I got it. I know how the world works. And you're like 7. No.
It's like a sponge. I can see that like a sponge monster going and growing.
Yes. All of your information. And I will screw up.
And then you get to age 7 and it's like, yep, I'm sweet. I know how that's supposed to be. And it wouldn't matter, you know, what you learn from 7 to 13 and going on. If you have that foundation that is, you know, criminal or neglected or whatever, you take that into every experience that you have.
Right.
And it colours everything. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, you can have traumatic experiences like after you're 7 or so, and that will really impact you. And I'm sure everybody's got that whole like, oh shit, I remember when I was 16 that happened, and it will, you know, really impact you. But yeah, pretty much, maybe even the reason why you had it was because of your programming up until the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, unlearning is the best thing.
Unlearning. I love that. It's like unschooling.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Learning from your experience, but it's how that experience you actually take it in. Do you take it in as it is, or do you take it on how it's been coloured to be, or somebody else has coloured it in for you? And it's like, you know, when kids are young and they're told not to colour outside the lines. Well, you know, sometimes you can come up with an amazing, even better masterpiece when you do colour outside the lines, because, you know, it's part of them. It's coming out from them. It's not some preconceived idea of what it should look like. It's what they want to make it look like. So I love the idea of that.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's the kind of thing with vision as well. When you're little, all you care about colouring in is like to make this the prettiest, coolest thing that you've ever seen in the end. And then some adult comes and tells you that you're not allowed to do it. You're only allowed to do it a certain way. It really inhibits how it can come out at the end. And like you just said, it could come out even better. And the same thing happens like in work when we have, you know, bosses who want us to do it something a particular way rather than just trusting us with the goal, those micromanagers that we hate working for. And it also happens when you're thinking really, really big because you start going, well, how am I going to do that? Because we've been programmed to like, well, take things step by step instead of just taking the next step. Because when a kid colours in, they're like, that's awesome. Oh, now that's awesome. And as something unfolds, there's more and more opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's the how, basically.
And they don't necessarily see the end picture either. They just go, I want this colour now. Okay, and then go to the next spot. But I think we are kind of programmed to plan things out and have these so many steps and you know, what's the end goal and all these goals. Like, I'm not a huge fan of goals because for me it's kind of like a final, like you've got to get to this step and that's it. Everything is always constant, and that finality is really an illusion. It's not real.
Yeah, the word goal is very, very much that way inclined. And a big vision is basically a big, massive dream or a big goal. But the word vision really shows you how big you need to go. But also, the main thing about having a vision, a really, really big, impossible, scary, brilliant vision, is that it's always inspiring you to move forward. So even if you get to a certain point toward it and you realize, it's not quite right, you can shift it. you can move it wherever it needs to go so that it will inspire you to keep moving forward. That's the vision. And quite often you get there a whole lot quicker, or you get closer a whole lot quicker, and you're like, okay, it's going to be even bigger, and it's out there now. And so it's always going to be something that you're not quite achieving. And if you need to sort of be okay with that and just allow yourself to be inspired by something so big and so impossible that you can't help get up in the morning and be excited.
Yeah, exactly. So like vision it feels to me very expansive, because you can shift that focus. If it's not quite right, you can change it, tweak it, whatever you need. If you have a goal is very much point A to point B, done. And that there is no, like, I mean, obviously you can make it whatever you want, but there's no real detour. There's no, enjoying the journey. It's just like go from A, B, we're done. Awesome.
And they're helpful, sort of, small ones are helpful because it feels good to tick things off your list and achieve things, like, but having like one big goal feels very limiting. And it might just be the language. It doesn't have to be like that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But vision, it gives that huge, broad-ranging, really exciting, kind of impossible, ridiculous sort of, you allow yourself to think bigger when you're thinking of a big vision, whereas with a goal, maybe dreaming is not so much part of it.
Yeah,
it's hard enough it is to think big without, the word already putting you off.
Yeah, so having that vision, and that's where I'm going to go into balance. So obviously, maybe did you want to talk about your vision? Like, what's your vision for the world? You in it. Did you want to talk about that?
Okay, yeah. Mine's like two-pronged, I suppose, but basically, how do I describe that? So I work with purpose first. So your purpose, to me, purpose is such a funny word for what it is, but purpose, why you're on the planet is because you need to be as much you as you can possibly be. And when you know what that is, when you've experienced like someone reflecting back at you, then you know like where you can focus and put your stuff. So and purpose is always huge and expansive as well, because you can, the how you put that out there and what you enjoy doing can be a multitude of things. It's not just, oh, my purpose is to be a car salesman. That is not a purpose. So no. It's in mine, and I always feel embarrassed about this because it sounds wanky, not to put too fine a point on it, but mine is to bring joy, like bring total, Christmas morning and excited anticipation feeling to the people, to as many women as I possibly can, basically, and particularly also like teens as well.
Yeah.
So my vision is that I'll be working with, this is on the way as well as hugely, working with women on bringing out who that is and getting them to be excited and striving for their big vision. And I do that in a multitude of ways. I'm actually not sure how big I want to go with that, and that's something I've been working on myself. So it's constantly evolving. But the other side of it is I have this little character that I'm writing about. Her name's Olivia Jones. And she sort of runs her life on the principles or the sort of way that I teach people to really open up themselves and dream big and really contribute to the planet in a way that makes them feel amazing. And she lives like that pretty much because she's got no other way to do it. So I'm writing a young adult fiction series, basically. And yeah, I'd love for that to go huge, and movies and all of that stuff. But at the same time, I love writing it so much that it doesn't even matter if it doesn't. So yeah, that's basically inspiring women to be whoever they want to be and take the chances and take the risks and allow themselves to grow and change towards that big vision and allow that to be okay and awesome, however it looks.
Yeah. And that's excuse me. And that really that's very expensive, because you have like this massive vision, but you don't have the set Like, it's got to look like this, it's got to look like that, or I've got to do it this way. You've kind of allowed it to be very open, and that for me feels really good, because there's so many different opportunities that we might not necessarily see coming from left field and, you know, wherever. And then they come in and you go, wow, I never really thought about that. How amazing. Let's, you know, run with that. So
that's why purpose is really important, because purpose is when you'll feel the most satisfied, the most fulfilled, the most valuable, the most powerful, the most in your element. Basically, it's alignment and being in flow, right? It's just you being as much you as you possibly can, and without judgment and all of that. So that feels fantastic. So if you can put who you are when you're feeling amazing, you know, into something, it's a lot easier to make decisions, because you know you will like it over there, because that supports your purpose a lot more on your way to your big vision. So I would like my big vision to be a bit more detailed, to be honest. I have to. I've kind of been doing that recently, because things have shifted. So it's like, oh, okay, I better make a big vision, because there is a problem when you don't. And that's, if it's not big enough, you'll get there and you'll be like, yay, but everything kind of falls apart at that point. Yeah, what do I do now? And you start scrambling, and you're like, there's nowhere for you to expand, because your vision is keeping you small. And when you kind of spill over the sides, for lack of a better way to describe it, and it's just a mess. I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt.
Yeah, so that's almost like boxing yourself in, and that's where I find labels or trying to, you know, describe things. Sometimes you can't describe exactly, because there isn't a word for that particular energy or whatever it is that you're trying to convey, because it's so much bigger that we don't yet have the capacity to even understand what it is that we're talking about.
Right.
And so when we get to that, you've boxed yourself in, you're like, yep, this awesome vision. You get there and you go, well, that's really great. But now, like, I know there's some people that get really depressed when they have a successful launch or whatever it is in the online world. And that's because they actually achieve what they set out to do. But then they go into thinking mode and go, well, okay, what's next? What do I do next? Do I have a break? Blah, blah, blah. And they overthink it. And rather than, you know, overthinking it, just go bigger and, you know, huge, fantastic vision, and have that vision. And you can have those little goals along the way. But if you have that massive vision, even when you achieve those goals, it's still going to be like, okay, what's the next thing? Or you know, there is no thinking about it, is there?
No. And when you have a vision like that, it tends to come more from the heart than just thinking, your thinking mind. And the heart is just humongous. It will go so big if you let it, and go there, that you will never be able to do all of the things that you could do with your purpose on the way to that vision. And I feel like, well, it must have been, you know, when the .com crashed, and there were a lot of like startups that went huge and sold themselves, and that just were bazillionaires in like 5 seconds flat, because their vision was like out here, right? And it's like, okay, cool, it's so huge, and then to achieve it, and it's like, well, how do I go beyond this? But if they thought from here, what do I want for the world? What do I feel how do I want people to feel? How do I want the world to be? It would have been a lot easier for them to pick up and go on, rather than just that very like, oh, I want to make a lot of money, and I want to like help big businesses and blah, blah, blah. And there might be great motives behind that, but it's not from the heart. It's not really from the heart.
Do you feel the heart is more like the feminine kind of softer energy? I know heart, like everyone has heart energy, but you just say in terms of feelings, like feelings and emotions are, you know, normally associated with the more feminine, rather than the masculine of the action and the go-getter. And that's with the .com when that crashed. Well, that was another sign of the patriarchal society kind of flopping in on itself, and the shifts that have been going on. And you think, well, if we, rather than going into hindsight, you go, okay, well, what's going to happen now moving into this other energy? And, you know, I talk about energy all the time. So, but moving out of that more masculine, and that's where goals for me feels really masculine, because it is that action, and you can still take action, but it coming from that heart space rather than from the head. And that's where a lot of the mental crappy thinking, because sometimes thinking can get you into trouble.
Totally. And that's where mindset comes in. But I actually have found that you can, I wouldn't say circumvent it exactly, but you can head toward your vision without having all of your blocks cleared. You can still make steps and go along. And especially if you are checking in with your heart space, because your heart space seems to be anyway far more connected to your subconscious, as it were. Like, I'm not sure how else to put this. This is not scientific at all, by the way.
This is intuitive.
yeah. But it's if you get yourself so that you're thinking from your heart space rather than from your head space, then you're, God, how do I put this? You don't have all the crap that you've been told. You don't have the gremlin voice going, you can't do that because you're actually crap and you're selfish and you're stupid. You don't have that going on, because you've put it almost to one side and you're actually allowing your heart to speak, to have a voice and say, we can do this. Like, because it's bigger than you. It's bigger than your own bullshit. And so when you've got a dream that's far bigger than your own bullshit, you might have blocks and limited beliefs about, the things that you need to do to get there, but you will get there regardless, like, because you'll be so excited about what you're heading toward that you will do whatever it takes. You do the crazy things, you do the fun things.
Because you're not thinking it. You're doing.
Right. No,
you're being.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll give you an example. I've got a great example of that. A long time ago.
In a land far, far away.
Yes, exactly. I decided I wanted to work at Stanford University. I just wanted to. I was standing on the grounds and they had all Rodin sculptures and Andy Goldsworthy stuff, and I'm like, whoa, I've never seen any real original art like that before. Just hadn't. So the whole place just suddenly took on this magical, I'm in the middle of the universe kind of feeling for me. And I just wanted to get there. I wanted to work there. Now, I was so driven to do that at one point there was some crazy steps that actually got me there. From that point, I was there within less than a year in orientation, going, oh my God, like filling out my medical benefits and stuff, going, hang on, what have I done? I'm just kidding. But it was some crazy steps. And some of the things that I did to take them, I can't even believe I did them now. Like, I just booked a ticket on a whim. I don't even know how I scraped up the money. Oh, I got a grant out of the blue. But anyway, I booked a ticket on a whim so that I could go and help the International Center at Stanford sort my visa out, because they were like, we don't know what to do for this. And so I was like, right, I'm going there. I'm going to sort it out. I'm going to make this happen. If I hadn't had the big dream, if I hadn't been so sure that I could figure this out, and that seems like a little thing, once something like that has started, I knew I was going to be able to work there. But I still spent $3,000 just getting there and back just to sort the visa. And then I had to come back to New Zealand to actually receive it. Yeah. So, I mean, ridiculous. Who's going to spend $3,000? I think I was 21, 22, long time ago. Who's going to spend $3,000 just to go and, travel across the world just to go and do something like that? I've belabored the point, but it's kind of, you'll do the crazy thing.
Yeah.
You'll do the crazy thing.
And that, if you had thought about it and, if you'd mapped it out and go, I've got to do this, this, and this to get to that, it probably would not have unfolded like that either. But you listened and felt and was like, this is my purpose in that moment of doing that. I mean, at 21, that's pretty powerful to manifest a job like that. That's pretty awesome.
Well, all I did was go, why not? Like, why not me? Why not? Like, other people have done crazy stuff. And I guess, being in that environment to start with, like, it's very transitory. People are from all over, having come from all sorts of backgrounds. So maybe that helped. But reading the 4-Hour Work Week later on made me realize what had happened. But at the time, I had absolutely no idea that that's what I was doing. Yeah. And that's I 100% believe that I want that people can go after their big vision without all the mindset stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so helpful and it'll get you there quicker, no doubt. I'm not bashing mindset, but I had no mindset. I had no idea. All I had was, why not me?
Mm-hmm.
Every time crap came up, well, why not me? Like,
and that's a pretty powerful belief if you think about that, in terms of a lot of people, their mindset or their beliefs are very much, I can't do that, very negative self-talk and all that. But going into the why not, that's very expansive. And even just asking that question is, why not? Okay, why not? I mean, honestly, that is so much more expansive than going into, I'd love to, but I wish I could do that, but. So I think that was, you didn't overthink it. You didn't have to even do any mindset, because it was very much just coming straight out from your soul into the next step.
And it was so big, and this is what's cool about having a massive vision as well. It was so big, it was so ridiculous, it was so impossible. It was soon after 9/11. They weren't dishing out visas very, very easily to anyone, and I always used to get stopped. I don't know why. Just, I'm a little white girl. Why on earth would I get stopped? Maybe I look even more suspicious like that. Anyway.
Because you didn't actually fit the profile. So they're like, oh, could I have a look at that?
Yeah, I'm like the opposite of the profile. So, or whatever profile they happen to have at whatever time. But yeah, it was just a messy time. So it seemed so utterly ridiculous that I wouldn't have been embarrassed if I had failed. Because, I mean, what were the odds, right? So, but I also had no idea of the how. No clue how that was going to unfold. And that was really helpful, because if I had had a goal that was maybe smaller, I might have had preconceived ideas about how to get there, and they might have taken me twice as long to get half as far. Mm-hmm. That's why having that massive goal is so important as well, because you cut the hows out of the equation. All you can do is the next thing, like with what you've got from where you are right now, and then let things unfold. Let opportunities come along from each step as you go.
And where do you, is it like a thought or a feeling? How do you kind of take those next steps? Because I know for some people, and I know for me, if I haven't been listening, if I haven't been noticing, and I've gone very unconscious, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. But how do you know, like, that next step?
That is a tricky one sometimes. Well, I found it tricky now. And I'm wondering maybe if I know, because I know so much more about like self-development and like, becoming or revealing like your best, most amazing self. It's almost a little bit of it's a bit of a hindrance, because I'm constantly questioning and like trying to feel in and everything. Whereas I really think that it is just doing whatever that's next in front of you. You can think, I have actually got a really, really good manifesting story about that that gives you an example, if you like. Yeah. So this is not I'm not an affiliate. I got this book, Brendan Burchard's book. He's giving it out at the moment for free, and all you do is pay for shipping. And I thought, oh, wow, when I read it, I was like, I really want my partner Jeff to read this, like really. Oh, wow. And I could feel intense. I had no other thoughts whatsoever, just like, oh man. And I'm like, how can I do that? Like, do I send it to him? There's a golden tickety thing at the end. I can't ruin it for everyone, but it could possibly have helped him get his own copy. But I'm like, no, because he's not very good. I just want him to have this pure experience of that book like I just did. And I sent him a text. Right, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, because that was when I finished the book. I sent him a text and said, I'm going to send you something, and I want you to just follow the instructions, however it goes, as you go. And he was like, all right. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then, this was really weird. So that's all I could do, right, to get what I wanted. Now, this is a very short term, it's a little mini goal, right, or a little mini vision, like, oh, I really want, all I had was this feeling of like, I really want Jeff to read this, like, and I could really feel it. The next day, I got another one in the mail. I checked my credit card. No other payment came out. I got another fresh book in the mail. I was holding the post going, what? I've got another one, and like checking my credit card. And Jeff calls and says, oh, by the way, I'm on my way to New Zealand and I'm landing on Saturday. And I'm like, so I have the book now, a spare book that came out of nowhere. And I looked at that and went, okay, what if I expand that into a big vision or expand that into anything that I want? All I did was the first thing I thought of from where I was. And allowed myself to really feel like, it would be so amazing if he had that. Now, I wasn't consciously doing any of that, but looking back, it was this excited feeling and then just doing anything. And it doesn't, action does not equal outcome.
No, that is so true. But it is taking some form of action, because sometimes that action can actually be resting or taking a nap or something, and it doesn't have to be that high vibe, energetic, go-getter kind of, go for it.
It doesn't even have anything to do with what you're doing either.
No. And you sent a text, you felt it, and it wasn't even feeling the outcome. You just felt into the excitement and the joy and actually wanting something. Like, it was a selfless thing. It wasn't for you, it was for somebody else. Exactly. And that's just boom, done.
Yep.
Beautiful.
When you come from your heart space, your mindset shit hasn't got a chance in hell.
Bypasses.
I mean, it's like, well, there's not, because it's obviously such a good thing, and even you can figure that out yourself. Like, your subconscious goes, oh, well, that's good. There's nothing to stop that happening.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're like trying to manifest money or anything else like that, so, that's when our brains start.
That's when we've got. Yeah, because that's not only you, that's like all your stuff, but everything from society that we like are in the middle of, because we are not an island. We are connected to everyone and everything in it. And so you might really want to believe one little thing, but if everyone around you believes the opposite, and your whole culture believes the opposite of what you want to believe, it's not saying it's impossible, but it's just made it a wee bit harder unless you have your tools in that. But still, and when you come from the heart space, there is no beliefs, mind, any of that junk, because it's actually coming straight out from you into the world. So this doesn't have a chance.
No, not at all. It is really interesting. I was shocked. That was like less than 12 hours that I got the second book. I was like,
and that's almost like a lesson of saying it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be extravagant or out there. It can just be just something beautiful that happens.
And you can expand that exact same thing to a massive vision. And if it feels good for you and everyone, like it's a vision for you and the world, if it feels that good and you can tap into like, oh, it'd be so awesome, things just magically happen. I liken it. I'd love to talk to this woman, Malala, the young woman who was shot in the head and recovered, and then she's like utterly amazing. I bet you anything she just had this massive like, no way, I'm not letting this get to me, and I don't want this to get to any other woman either. That's coming straight from here. And look how quick from her recovery she was getting a Nobel Peace Prize, and she's on Oprah. That is simply from here. That's wanting the best for you within the world, including your purpose. That's how powerful that is.
And that's where the vision, it has to be bigger than yourself. If it's not bigger than you, then it's not big enough.
Exactly. And you won't get excited about it after a while either. It just, even when you sort of like, no, you can't see yourself in it, it's important for you to see other people, having that experience or feeling or whatever it is that you want to bring. And it overrides your quitting too, by the way. I've quit so many times, but I've never stopped because my vision is so exciting. It's like, oh, okay, that sucked, but now like this is bigger than me. So Yeah.
And the things that sucked, they had lessons in them, though, that you've been able to bring forward. So I'm very much everything happens for a reason, whether I like it or not.
Totally. And you know what's interesting? And you brought it up just before we got on the call, but every time something has sucked, if it makes me quit, I take a step back and I go, screw it. And then I'm like, well, I'm free now. I'll go on for a walk. I'll have a bath. I'll do something for me. I'll watch a movie. Immediately, self-care is automatically kind of happening because I'm feeling sorry for myself. If we could do that before we get to those like sucky moments that force us to do that, that would be really good. I'm not very good at that.
Yeah. Oh, we're working on that. But, that's where the balance comes in, because you and I know the whole online business world can be very frantic and full on and in your face. And if you don't, like for me, I'm actually considering doing a bit of a technology detox, even if it's just for one day a week or however long. And because when we are, especially it's not even just the online world, when we're around other people or we're constantly, not in our own space, we need to kind of come back and go, well, actually, what do I actually think about this situation? Or how do I actually feel about that, rather than just taking on everybody else's stuff. And then
being able to respond rather than react, like you need that time. And it also takes practice to give yourself that time, even in a like reactive kind of like environment, still taking a step back and choosing to respond rather than just react. It's so friggin' hard. I know it doesn't need to be, but I would love to be able to, that's self-care, in the moment, rather than running away and having to have the whole, day and night to yourself, which I do quite a lot.
I've done. I had a weekend to myself. Well, technically I was with a group of like 40 other women, but you can still find time, like you go for a walk by yourself. But having that balance before having those meltdowns. And for me, I'm not really good with routine. I'm trying to change that to, what's the other word? Ritual.
Yep,
that's a good word. Or rhythm. Rhythm's my flow and rhythm. So sometimes you got to just flow, and sometimes you got to dance it out. But having that balance, and instead of waiting until some crisis happens, then, it can be really, really tiny little things that you do for yourself. Having that bath, or, going a day without your phone, or, just really tiny little things. But we kind of make it out. Self-care is this humongous, like, billboard, flashy signs. You need to take care of yourself. Among everything else, it becomes a to-do list. And you go, okay, I've got to tick these things off, blah, blah, blah. That is not the point of self-care. Self-care is taking that moment, even going just within for, if you can find 10 minutes to yourself. And I know.
Yourself in a bathroom somewhere and just, right? That's self-care.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to be those.
Glass of wine isn't necessarily all there is for self-care. I used to think that. Right, I'll schedule that in and everything. But actually, I also used to think that self-care was filling up your own cup so that then you can help others. But who was I talking to? I can't remember who I was talking to. There's that lovely example, of course, that everyone gives of, when you're on a plane, you put your own oxygen mask on first, and then you can help others.
Yeah.
And I had this thought that, well, actually, if you're on a plane putting on your oxygen mask, if I've got a little kid, little boy, little girl, whatever, sitting next to me, they're going to be smart enough to see me doing that and do it themselves. So you're actually setting an example for others to look after themselves as well. And that actually makes it feel less, if you needed it to feel less selfish, if you had a problem, self-care, then that opens, you've got no excuses at that point, because you're setting an example for someone else to do the same.
It's the modeling of behavior too. And that's really big, especially in parenting things. I'm trying to be more of a conscious parent. My thing is coming back to, okay, well, what behavior am I modeling here? If my children are getting angry or aggressive, how am I actually acting, you know? And it all starts, you got to go back within and work on your own behavior. But with the cup, filling up your cup, my belief is you actually fill your cup until overflowing. So you fill yourself up, and then you've got overflowing for others. But if you fill yourself right up, none of this, you know, I'll just, you know, just tap in a little bit so I can give some more. Because if you're constantly doing that, you'll burn yourself out and you'll have nothing.
Absolutely. And if it sort of brings us full circle back to purpose and vision, because if you are actually looking after yourself, you're honoring what you feel, you're honoring what you love. When you do that, you can do a lot more, because what you're doing is refilling you as you're going. That's kind of cool. I like that.
Ah, that's just beautiful. You are amazing, darling. Thank you.
Takes one to know one.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm actually drinking water today, so this is good.
I know I have my cup of tea, which is slowly getting cool, and then I've got my water as well, because I've been very much drinking tea a lot. And I don't drink coffee. So.
You just before you say that.
Yeah.
How many times do you end up reheating it before you actually get? Oh, you don't? Okay.
I let it go cold. If I drink it cold, then because it's chai and it still tastes good.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, good point.
If it was normal tea, maybe not. But that's okay. I don't think reheating is very good for it, though.
No, neither. Or make a fresh one. But that's self-care too, like actually taking the time to allow yourself to have the cup of tea. Oh, a big one for me that Denise Duffield-Thomas of Lucky Bitch Bootcamp talks about, or brings up every now and again, is allowing yourself to go and pee. I'll be like, I just finished this.
Yeah.
I just finished this. And I'm sitting there, just like, seriously, just go to the toilet.
Yeah. And I think that's, especially if you're in the flow of something, you don't want to interrupt it. Or if you're in a call with clients, or if you're in the middle of, for me, my thing is I don't like going when I'm out in public. So I try not to drink too much before I go out. And then I find I don't drink enough during the day if I'm in and out all the time. And I get very dehydrated. And for me, I try to drink close to 3 liters of water, because that for me feels really good. And it's so easy in summer. Winter, it's a little bit more difficult.
Maybe. So your self-care is buying yourself a really awesome 3-liter bottle that you just want to take everywhere with you.
Yes. I have to be very particular though, because, you know, it has to be maybe glass or, you know, but then, you know, lugging a glass jar around, we'll see. That's all good.
My mother uses an old Grolsch beer thing, because they've got those cool lids.
Oh, yeah.
It's like drink, and it mustn't look good. But glass. That's because it's glass, and yeah.
You should take a photo. All right, darling, I'm going to wrap up. So, is there anything else that you wanted to share?
Nope, it's been awesome talking with you about vision. Thank you, because it's sort of like hear myself go, oh, I do actually know what I'm talking about a little bit.
You do. So thank you so much for chatting with me, and thanks everyone for watching. And I'm Alexis, and this is Mariska. So, bye.